make some sawdust. This thumbnail thing is a pain in the butt. Time for some edge grain boards, cheese boards, and coasters. We have about 700 board feet that we're gonna run. $19 bags, about 20-25 gallons of sawdust each. That is a lot of sawdust. All right, time to make a pile of strips. Whoa. This blade, the kerf on it is so thin, it's just, the whole thing is just this big wet noodle. So this is what the end result is from about 700 board feet. And these are all the cutoffs. Like this is just cracked. There's a ton of wormholes, just bad pieces, tons of knots. The walnut is the worst, and the walnut, getting the walnut up here to Alaska is really expensive. So these are gonna all get resawn into the thin strips. So I was cutting my strips here, and when I got to the end, kind of bound up and kicked. And when it did that, it pushed this blade out like this. And I had the power feeder adjusted too close. And I ate my rollers, my power feed rollers. I'm gonna need to get those ordered and get them up here like tomorrow. Didn't know if I was even gonna be able to find any of those in the United States, let alone get them second day air and get them up here within a few days. So back to work. A little bit nervous about getting those done. Did a couple of test strips here and they're looking pretty good. Have a ton of resawn here to do. That's Wenge too. So the strips went pretty good, but that bandsaw is super dialed in. And look, you just see my fingers through this. It's like paper thin. Pretty crazy that the Wenge was able to get this thin without falling apart since it's so brittle. Now on to planing the bandsaw rips. Ended up using the old DeWalt 735 because with the helical head by Bird Tool, this thing really does a great job of planing the thin strips when they're at this width. What is that one? Grumpy monkey. neat little pieces off of the strips. I've been saving those. I think I'm gonna turn those into some pretty sweet bowls. Strips are done. Finally, edge grain cutting boards. These are the pre-orders. I opened up the website for pre-orders last month, and I wouldn't be here without YouTube channel, without you guys. This is because of you guys. First top 3 designs happen to be Otter, Baleen, and Deshka. Just getting to leave the shop here. We're about a week late on summer solstice, but this is midnight in Alaska. Ran out of Wingate, so I'm gonna take you guys for a ride. Something that has been pretty amazing to do in the new shop is book matching. Now, cutting all the strips and being able to keep them organized in the way that they were ripped, so when you flip them, you're able to capture that book matching, has been amazing. this point, the boards get hung on the rack for 10 to 14 days. It really helps with the cure time, the direction of each strip that wants to push and pull in its own direction. They really get to acclimate together, and it helps for, once they cut them to length, that they're less likely to warp that way. And then back to the little planer. That little planer has just been awesome. So I do an amount of finish planing just at the end before sanding, and it works out really well. Alaska problems. Somebody didn't make sure that the bear-proof trash can was latched. I don't know if I'm ready for this. It's gonna be a lot of work. At this point, the coasters have been sanded all the way down to 220, and now a little bit of water in a rag, and we raise the grain to get the fibers to lift up, and then they get hand sanded with 320. They get put into little drying racks so that they can dry without touching each other. And then we have a pile of cheese boards, some that are ripped in half, and then some that are full thickness that will get the cheese slicer. Now we're working through the end of the main boards here that have all cured, and we're really doing the last push to get ready for our market that our business park puts on. So back to a pile of hand sanding. Okay, here's where we're at. Mini charcuterie boards, sushi trays, cheese boards, whatnot. I had some requests for those. These are, all the rest of these are cheese boards with a slicer. These are little trivets or big coasters. Big boards. Those have long ways to go. So this is the rest of the product that hopefully I'll have done. The next market is in a week. Well, it's late. It's really late, and that happened. So I had a pretty big mistake yesterday. I caught my finger on the sandpaper, you know, getting right to the last board after about 3 hours, and just a lapse of judgment there. I was reaching for my square, which I had been doing 10, 15, 20 times per board, and I hit my finger right here, reaching for this, and it went all the way, one revolution all the way till it came off right there, and it really took off a chunk of my finger. So it happens fast. So pay attention, no lapse of judgment. So final push here for sanding all the edge grain boards, juice grooves, getting that done today so that I have the next few days to finish them at home. Oily hands. Sorry about the vertical footage here. I was so distracted with the market that I forgot to use the real camera. So overall, this market did a lot better than the previous two markets. I was a little more prepared for it. Before all this, the last time I did a market, I was 14 selling cutting boards. I did have to stop production on the pre-orders for a short time so that I could have some product available for this market. But when the market was over, I was right back doing pre-orders. The market went really good. I have piles of pre-orders here. The stack was much bigger. Been getting them shipped out. Right after the market, I had to make a birch countertop out of rough sawn Alaskan paper birch. Quick little job. Turned out pretty nice. There's a short little video on my channel for it. Here we are, last of the pre-orders. About 20 boards left. I'll have a pile of product available after that. I use template size sticks to designate my different sizes, so it makes it a little bit easier, and doing all the pre-orders and matching the sizes with the customer order's number is a lot of work. If you've been woodworking long enough, you probably understand that breathing sawdust is not healthy for you. And even when you do your best to keep up with, like, say, having the door open, using vacuums, you know, to help vacuum out the other part of the dust, you just cannot see what's really going on. And these Dylos machines are amazing. They're only like $200 on Amazon, at least when I bought that one. I'll have a link below. This has really opened my eyes for air quality in the shop. I have to get these done in the next week, so I'm going to skip filming until they're finished. We're going to go to the post office. Yeah. Is that the last of the cutting boards?
That's last of pre-orders.
Yeah.
See?
I see.
See?
Yeah. Well, it has been 4 months to finally get here. After the past 2 years and the crazy amount of work it's taken to get here, I needed a break. So I took a few weeks off, finally went hunting. I didn't get to go hunting last year. We didn't get a moose, but it was just amazing to get out. Well, it is time calling it no moose this year. Then I come home and the next day, my truck gets totaled in my driveway. Oh my f***ing word!
What?
Somebody hit my truck!
Let me careful. What in the
Really puts things into perspective on how fast life can change. Just 4 minutes earlier, I was in my truck putting the lock on my boat. Just 4 minutes before. Which is, it's been a nightmare to deal with, and pretty bummed about that. But I haven't shown the whole finishing process here in the shop on these edge scram boards, so let's do that now. From the little shop to here, I've gone from a 1/4 inch radius to a 3/16 radius on the router bit. There's a lot less tear out. I only run in reverse in one pass. Because of the way I sand, this profile still works really nice. My little jig for setting up the router. So there's to check your depth so you know where you're at. And then you have your fine tune adjustment here, which I use a 1/8 to 1/4 turn for the final pass. So here's my little trick for doing juice grooves. I wouldn't say it's a big time saver. It saves a little bit of time, but it really saves fatigue. Doing juice grooves by hand from start to finish with one of these is a lot of work. I took this block and I cut it down on the bandsaw. This is a sandable block, so you cut your contour that you want, you know, whether it's an inside radius or outside radius. I think a lot of times these are used for molding, you know, like crown molding. You run the duplex on top of this so that eventually, after a couple of tries, I got this. Then they give you this and some spare Velcro, a couple of these, and you glue your Velcro onto here in the area that you want it on. I know it looks funky. So how aggressive this little thing is inside that tiny little radius, really it moves a lot, so you need to have a way of clamping the board or securing the board. I do the majority of the sanding with the Festool duplex and do-it-yourself kit, but then it comes back down to hand sanding. I do the final hand sand with 220 and 320. In the little shop, I did not have the boom arm extension on the Festool vacuum, and I always struggled with holding that hose, so having that has really made a big difference. And here we are, the final sand with 320. To get to this point is a lot of work, but to completely sand the board with 320, it really makes the product, but it is brutal to do. Little place looks familiar. Back in the little shop here. Still no room in this place. Out of 150 cutting boards, 70 cheese boards, 350 coasters. This is the first time in 2.5 years that we finally have not sold out and we actually have product available on the website. I won't be doing cutting boards for quite a while. After Christmas here, I have at least 6 months of all new stuff. It's gonna be awesome. I get to be creative again. Lasted the cutting boards for at least 6 months. Still, seeing the finished product is just super rewarding. I don't know if that'll ever get old. So the boards get to sit here with this film of mineral oil that is slowly saturating, and I really feel like while the wood is breathing, allowed to breathe instead of just being sitting in the mineral oil and being dunked, while it's allowed to breathe, it's going to breathe in the mineral oil a little bit better and allow it to penetrate. And doing that 4 to 6 times over 2 days really seems to work really good. So it's been a few days. They got 4 dips and the oil is all soaked in really well. And this is going to a really good repeat customer of mine, and this happens to be the end of the video. I really appreciate you guys. And all you woodworkers, please leave your comments here. I try to answer as many questions as I can here on the YouTube videos. Customers, please email me on the website. I will do the best I can to get back to you as soon as possible. This is the last of the product of cutting boards, cheese boards, coasters that I'm going to have for 6 to 8 months. You guys know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe. I really appreciate you guys. I wouldn't be here without you.